Well, hello everyone. This is Robin Carter, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas. And today I'm here to share my first alternative using the Home for the Holidays paper pumpkin kit for October 2023. Let me thank those of you who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for your subscription and supporting me. And if you're brand new to my channel, or maybe you've watched a few but have yet to subscribe, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. So this card we're going to put together live because I didn't have time to make one ahead of time before I went out of town. But one of the first things I like to do when I get my kit is start working kind of with the stamps, and I really like this stamp set. It includes the house, the trees, and some nice elements. Here's the stamp set right here. And so here are some that I have colored and applied the glitter to the roof. And then after watching the unboxing, I saw how they just kind of outlined that the shimmer on the windowsill and the roof. So I kind of like that idea. And then I've made several trees here. Now, if you've followed me last time, you know I use my scan and cut to cut a lot of images. And so here are my little envelopes of things that I've cut. So some tips if you have a scan and cut and are going to want to use that. Here is the sheet that I created. And I went in with a Sharpie and I closed all the gaps in the trees. And I think there was a gap or so in the house. That way I could get a solid outline. Now, if you're going to use this one to cut, you'll want to use a pencil so you can erase it. But if you watched my video of how I use my scan and cut with paper pumpkin, you know I like to just do one and send it to the computer. And that way I can create a whole sheet of trees and houses and have them white ready to stamp. So anyway, here's my trees. I did these yesterday so that the glitter glue had time to dry, and as well as the houses. Now, I don't know if you can tell, so this one was done with blends because it bleeds through. Okay, and this one I did with marker. So since these images are so fine, if you just have the markers, I think that works. I did do one with the watercolor pencils, and I just wasn't happy with how dark. It didn't come out very vivid. Here it is. But if this is all you have, you could just scribble a little harder. Now, I followed the colors from the houses in the kit. So, where's my little envelope of those? And by the way, all these little envelopes that I use, if you haven't watched me before, you know they're what I call my favorite things, and it helps me organize my supplies for making cards. So these little ones, they're like index size. They're like 3 by 5. These are like 9 by 7, and it does hold the whole instructions and all the card bases. And then when I have card components, I do these 5 by 7 ones. So all those things, there's links in this video of where I get those, and I am an Amazon affiliate, so those are safe links, and I get a few pennies when you use those links, so I appreciate your support if you use those links to find these items. But anyway, I'm looking for my houses. Here they are. So I stored all the little components in this one. So I took the colors based off a couple of these houses. I did the taupe, and then one I did a blue door, one I did a red door, and the colors here are Misty Moonlight, Real Red, and these are, of course, are the watercolor pencils. Now, there's not a taupe. I did use the Early Espresso and did that. Now, after putting the shimmer on the whole roof, I decided I really do like just the outline because it kind of makes it curl. Maybe I put too much, I don't know. But anyway, so let's get to my alternate. So as I said in my unboxing, if you missed that, it's in my YouTube part of videos. This one's going to be a little challenging because the card bases are just card fronts, and the envelopes just have this flap. The inside is white. So I thought I would try to do an alternate using the envelope. And then I brought in one thing. If you've watched my channels, you know I love texture. So I brought in the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. Now this was new in the mini catalog, and here is the item number for it, 162026. And by the way, if you do not have a demonstrator and place any product orders, I would really appreciate if you use my host code below, or above, not below. And if you place an order of $75 or more using the host code, you will get a special gift from me. So anyway, I thought I'd use a little texture here. And so I already have a solid white, thick card base made up. And so I feel to see which end is just a hair bigger, and it's this side. So I'm going to want this to be my front. Now I did this one horizontal, and I'm gonna put the more of the snow down here and just lightly falling up there, just because this is going to cover that, and I like more of the texture to show. So I'm going to get my Tombow multi-purpose glue, and this I have in a fine tip bottle, which is part of my favorite things. And of course I left it open last night. I'm probably going to have to get a needle and open it up. I should have done that beforehand. So I just poke a needle in there, wipe off that glue, and it should start running good. May have to get the glue, there it goes, the dried glue string out of there. But this helps me not apply too much glue. Too much glue will cause your paper to wrinkle, and I don't like that. And this is my favorite glue. Let me get my instructions out of the way. And I just kind of tap it because this is a full card front. And then just kind of smooth it out. If it helps you to smooth it out, you may want to go like that, just so you don't have any bumps and humps of glue. All right, let me put the instructions in this envelope. Again, I do like these because if you have any thing left, you can store these with the instructions just like that, rather than the big box, so it takes up a lot less space. Okay, now ahead of time I did cut off the flap of one of the envelopes. Isn't that pretty? And I did leave just a little bit of white on purpose, and I'm fine with that, how it looks. It kind of coordinates in. And then I went and I trimmed off the edges. I've got glue or something on my top. All right, so when that happens, oh, it's on my card base. I feel it. I'm rubbing it off. Okay, and then I do have a gum eraser. I'm sorry, I bumped the table or the camera with my head. Okay, and that helps. And this thing's going to last me forever. I think I have a link of this as my favorite things as well. So, okay, now it won't stick anymore. Okay, I did trim off, like I started to say, the sides just a little bit. And I'm okay that it's not full flat. I'm okay that it's rounded like the envelope, because it is kind of a wreath on a sack. Now, you can obviously lick that, but I'm not going to lick it. I'm going to glue this down, or put some water. I guess you don't have to lick it. All right. And then I'm going to put this at the top of the card. Now this is a horizontal folded card. And white on white, I'm going to have to kind of look closer so that I get it straight. All right, there we go with that. So then I wanted to create some little homes. So I made these ahead of time. Now I have some pre-stamped, as well as the little trees. But I'll show you what I do with my stamp positioning tool. So this is the Stamparatus, which they're no longer able to sell, sadly. So I like to put my stamps on here without this, okay? And then I create this using the negative from my scanned images. But without this, I put this down, and I showed this in my scan and cut video too. And I stamp the stamps, and then I take my negative pieces and line them up to where they're going to go. So always just make sure with the Stamparatus that your mat is in the center. And I'll stamp another one for us while we're here. So like I said, I have a whole bunch of these. And I'm going to put that there. And this I did do in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Let's see, I'm off camera with that side. Not that it's that big a deal. You know how to put ink on a stamp. Okay, I'm going to go sideways, make sure I got it. Okay, and then just close it. Press. You want a flat image, not on your card. Okay, and that way the ink can absorb into the paper. And then I'm going to get my trees. Now, when I made my trees solid, I did leave a little bit of ripple, and the hardest thing is getting them back out. So that it had some, it wasn't just straight. If I would have fussy cut that, it probably would have been straight. So I left a little bit of ripple. Now the little tree, it's almost straight after you do a white border around it. But I can tell it has one little hump there, and it goes here. Okay, so just depending on how you close in your gaps of your trees, will, if you're using the scan and cut file, will depend. Now you can easily fussy cut these, and that's fine. How I created these trees, let me bring them in here, was I first used Mossy Meadow. And by the way, Mossy Meadow is going to be our next ink spot. So if you don't have Mossy Meadow, you can hold off making these until the next kit, because you will have a Mossy Meadow. All right, so then I just pressed, and then I brought in a mini blending brush. A large one would work, that would be fine. And then I take a clear block that I received from other kits I may have done, and I put a little bit of ink. Now I used Old Olive. Okay, and then I swirl, whoop, don't swirl the camera. I swirl there, and then I start just lightly, right, doing the tree. And if I want more, I can pick up more off the block. Add a little more pressure and make it darker. Oops, now I gotta get him out. Okay, let's get out the big one. And the little one is stuck in there good. You know what, let me get my take your pick tool. In my little jar up there. And reach in there and get him, but don't poke through my deluxe mat. Okay, so that is how I got my trees in my house. Now I like I said, I have all my coloring goods here, and I think I'm going to show you how I use the markers. So let me see if I have I was looking for my silicone mat to use, but I'll just be real careful, and if I get marks on my pad here, you'll understand. So I needed a yellow for the light. Let's do a red door, or let's do a blue, it doesn't matter. Now I have a mixture of old and new markers. I'm supposed to be getting in my new marker soon. But okay, real red. So this is the original design, and so it has a very, very fine tip. Now it's okay for the bow, because these are teeny tiny bows in your stamp. Okay, and then, you know, I've never really seen a red chimney, but that's the way the houses were done in the kit, so I kind of liked it. I switched tips to the broader tip. Now there is a very, very fine, the little brush. You can get in there if you work gently. All right, so let's color in the light from the houses. And since these are such small images, you can get away with the markers. It's not gonna, you don't really need a lot of blending. Now for the wreaths, I did use Old Olive instead of Mossy, just because the Mossy was pretty dark. If you used a blender pen with the Mossy, it would probably work out good. All right, and they did this, I've never really seen greenery around a house, but they did that, so I thought I'm gonna stick with the houses in the kit. That's not a thing here in Texas. Is it a thing somewhere else? I don't know. Okay, so there is our roof. In the house, I'm gonna go with the crumb cake. And again, you can just use these markers, and it's not gonna put a whole lot of streaks, especially if you get it the first time. Get right up there by the window. And by the way, these Stampin' Right markers, you can refill them with the ink refills, like for the pads. I don't think I've had to do any of mine yet. Okay, so there is our house. And then, which one do you like better? Let's see, that's the same one. Since I already have two, I'll do a red door on this one. Now, the door is a little more difficult, especially around that, and especially doing it on video. I try to hurry and I might cover up some things. And then, of course, it's right in the center of that wreath as well. All right, so let's do the shutters. Okay, it's a little messy, especially right there. But I'm gonna say let's go with that. Let me see if I don't think crumb cake's gonna do anything to cover it. And we'll see how that dries. All right. Then for the rooftop, you want to take your glue. Now I will say you have to let that glitter glue dry a while. If you wanted a quick one, you could use the wink of Stella, okay, to give it some shimmer. But I'm going to use the glue that was provided, and I'm just going to get it started and go along the greenery here. And I put some on the windowsill as well. Now you could put some along the bottom to be like the ground, but I'm happy with that. And if you want to spread it after you kind of put it down, you can with a tip. Okay, and here is the completed one, but I'm going to set it on my shelf behind me so it can dry. So that's how I created these houses, and I have a mixture in this box of the blends that I use, watercolor pencil, blender pen, etc., just so that I'd have them handy to show you. And then for the trees, I did just put some dots. I just kind of went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just something like that. 2, 3 on the little trees. All right, and then carefully set these aside as well because that's wet. Okay, so now we have all of that done, and let's get back to our card. So like I said, I already have some trees here, and I have my houses. I'm going to set these aside. You know what? He goes here. I better put him back in my house. All right, so then I'm going to take one that's red, one that's blue, and I'm going to use the same full glittered roof versus that one, although I really like this one, so I'll use this one on my next card. All right, and then I grabbed some trees, so let's go ahead and put these down. Well, let's set the trees to kind of eyeball where we want everything. I think I want a big tree and a little tree. All right, something like that. So I'm going to start with the trees, and I'm going to glue him down. Whoops. Okay, so I want this tree here, and I want the little tree kind of right beside him. Kind of growing like in front of him. Now the house, I am going to use dimensionals, and I'm still using a piece from others. I just kind of stick them in a box and use them all up as I go. And I do cut these in half. I think you can see that. And we've got a nice big sheet for this kit, which is nice. All right, peel off the backings. And let's put him here. The house here. All right, let's put the trees on this side. So I can kind of eyeball where I want my other stuff to go. He needs to come down to match the other one. May not have got enough glue there. Especially the little tree. He needs a little more. Because it's got to fit over that glitter. Got a hair. Yes, I have long hair. Okay, now we're going to do the other house. Let me get my dimensionals back. If you haven't got your kit yet, it should be coming soon. Mine came kind of later than usual. It took its sweet time. It seems to stay in Utah quite a while. Okay, and then let's just put him same level as that house. And then my trees. One there. Maybe a little more over. And one here. Okay. Now the labels they gave us for the Merry Christmas, I thought about using, and I've already stamped all mine. But I really didn't want to cover up the wreath. I guess you could put it kind of there. That looks kind of good. But I found an old kit, a paper pumpkin kit. I am allowed to use this one from November 2016. And it had a nice little whimsical Merry Christmas that I thought I would use. And I did use this label from the All That dies. It's one of my favorite dies. So I'm just going to probably put it here on dimensionals. Again, you can use the one that came in this kit. Actually, I thought that did look nice. But I want to save these. Well, that would be easy to recreate. You know what? I'm going to use it. That way you have everything in this kit you need to make this card. All right, I have to decide. Dimensionals? Yes, dimensionals. When in doubt, I always do dimensionals. I'm going to have to cut some more of these in half. I just go right up the whole strip. That way I'm ready to go. I wanted to get this video out before we're headed to football game. It's fall. All right. Didn't want to have to wait till next week. All right, so let's put this right here. Merry Christmas, centered with the wreath and the houses. Okay, so what do you think? This is my first alternative using the envelope. I'll probably have to add a little more glue to those trees. Using the envelope flap here and the stamp sets here to create this card. So thanks for joining me today. And again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate your subscription. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share with your other card making friends. And again, if you're not subscribed to November is supposed to coordinate with this kit. You don't have to have this kit to do the November, but it will be, I guess, the same colors and feel. There is a add-on of cards that you can purchase through the online store. You do have to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber to purchase those. And mine are not in yet. They should be in next week. And when I share my next alternative, I'll show you the cards and envelopes. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you like this alternate. And until my next video, have a great weekend.